What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, let's talk about bots because I'm gonna make a claim here. I'm gonna proclaim that the war against bots has been won. And I'm purely looking at the data. This is not philosophical. I'm not trying to get into all of that. I'm sure that people will have fun with it in the comments. And I'm being specific about bot farms, not necessarily bots and battle helpers, although that is something that hopefully the team is trying to address. Now, what do I mean by this? If you go and probably look at videos of mine from 2 years ago, which is kind of insane, right? But we'll call it Q2 or even Q1 of 2022. You will see probably, me looking at peak monsters at some point around that time, and there being anywhere from 400 to 500,000 daily active accounts. It was nuts, right? Coming especially out of the 2021 bull run. We just had a lot of players. We had a lot of bots. We had a lot, whatever it was. Obviously, at the time, we thought they were players, but they were actually really just bots. Well, take a look at this. Over the past 30 days, the daily average has been 31,000. So we are down over 90%. And actually, if you want to go check this out, even just the past couple of weeks, we are below, on some days, 20,000 daily active accounts. So that is a 95% decrease from 400,000, even more than that if you go from 500,000. So I'll say this. All of the changes that have been made, all of the, either rewards or penalties or soulbound nature, whatever it is, has removed a lot of accounts that were here probably just to try and extract some value. It's just no longer worth it for them to run. And therefore, now we're getting much closer to what, we believe the actual player base is, which is anywhere from, 1 to 5,000 real human beings. Now, some of those human beings have multiple accounts, myself included. But either way, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, well, the bots are gone, right? At least in the sense of the major level, high extraction value bots seem to be gone because they're obviously just not running anymore. So what is the appropriate breakdown of this or the response to this? I've heard many things across the ecosystem, some which are actually fascinating to consider. Something like the fact that bots were actually what was propping up the economy. And if you go back to early 2022 or the first half of 2022, people were buying up reward cards because all the bots were buying them or renting them and using them. And those APRs were so freaking good, right? Remember Splex came out around that time. You could just automate your renting, and it was kind of crazy to think about. So now that bots are gone, and this is something that people have been, calling for a while. And I'm not trying to say good or bad, right? In fact, if anything, right, I don't think that a good game is going to have a majority of its players botting. So I'm not saying that it's a bad thing by any means that there were measures taken. But when you consider the fact that there's probably been a lot of folks who were buying cards and assets all throughout 2022, when we still had over, several 100,000 players, right? This has been a slow decline over the past 2 years. And unfortunately, this chart only goes back to 6 months. But you can see here, even in late 2023, where were we at? 50,000 daily active users, right? So even over the past 6 months, we're down 60% in that time frame. So again, I'm looking at this and thinking to myself, well, just being objective here, all right? Was it worth it? Was it worth it going after bots as heavily as we did? And there's no one thing that killed bots, right? I don't think the whole modern, bot ban or modern format was the nail in the coffin. Although I'll say that obviously it was very significant, right? But you had many things coming in from starter cards could not earn to the reward, the level penalties that came in. That was late 2022. Then obviously in 2023, you had the bot ban, right? In modern format, which probably got rid of a bunch of others. And then, the recent changes to the reward structure, right? Obviously the splitting of the pool and then things going to glint rather than, SPS or whatever the case is. So there's been several things that have happened. And we can't really just point to one and say, well, this was the end all be all. This is what caused it. So with all of those, right? And this is why the reason I'm saying this is because I don't think we can just point a finger and say, oh, well, it's the team's fault or it's the DAO's fault or it's whatever. I'm saying that in the context of like, there was this approach taken by both the community and the team, right? That effectively removed all of the incentives for bots. And I think what people have realized along the way is that it ended up removing a lot of incentives for players as well, whether that was earning rewards from the game, right, which is a common complaint that I hear now, or it's absolutely killed asset values. Because when there's 500,000, man, even if there's only 200,000, right, accounts that need a finite amount of, for example, Chaos Legion cards, I mean, we are down 90% from when there were 200,000 accounts, right? And that was in late 2022. Right, we were slowly getting, slowly weaning off of the massive amount of bot farms. But even a year and a half ago, we still had several 100,000 daily active accounts. So it's killed a lot of the economy. And I'm just trying to take an objective approach to this, because the question becomes, okay, now that we've done this, now that we have effectively, in my opinion, won the war against bot farms, where do we go from here? And is this now an environment in which human players will want to come in? Because again, the flip side of this argument could be, well, we got exactly what we wanted. Yes, it's one step back so that we can take two steps forward, right? And so I'm kind of like on the fence of that. I'm trying to figure out where are people leaning towards when it comes to that, because I do buy the argument that, maybe by killing, all the bot farms and really killing all the incentives there, we probably killed a lot of the incentives for players, and we definitely made them very sad about the fact that their asset values have just absolutely tanked, right? Namely Chaos Legion and anything part of the Chaos Legion set. So did we do more harm than good by focusing in on the bots so heavily? Again, I'm not saying one way is right or the other. I'm just, this is food for thought. Okay. Because again, the flip side to that argument is, well, it was something that needed to be done. It was necessary. And now here is where we go. Here's where we're going to go from here. Basically, like, once we get new players coming in, all those missing bot accounts don't matter. Players will actually want to play in a game that doesn't have bots in it, that isn't dominated by bots. And we just have to go through and eat up all of the excess inventory of cards, inventory of SPS. So again, I'm just putting this out there. So don't kill the messenger, right? Because I'm genuinely just curious how people feel about this. Is there anybody that has any kind of regret, saying like, well, maybe we shouldn't have been focusing on bots so much. Maybe the team should have just been coming out with cool new syncs for the game, such as guilds or tournaments or game modes or whatever the case is, rather than focusing in so heavily on, disincentivizing bot behavior. Again, it even hurts to say that out loud, but I'm just trying to present the other side of the argument here and give us all some food for thought and make this comments section probably a little bit more interesting because I have no idea what to even expect at this point. But, like I said, I'm gonna go and do my best. Who was it? George W. Bush impression, right? Like, the war has been won. I forgot what the muse even was, but victory is here. We have won the war against bot farms, and I think that the numbers speak for themselves. So what happens now? Was this worth it? And what happens now are my questions for you. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll catch you all in the next video and see you around the game. Take care.